1987 Camaro Z28 fiberglass body with a 383 Chevy under the fiberglass hood, producing 900 horsepower. And at 2,200 pounds, a light car with that much horsepower ought to make a good run tonight. Welcome back, Larry.
Chemical reaction. This is a good machine. It's an Camaro Z28, as you said a moment ago. Steve DeLeeuw of Holland, Michigan. Not that heavy, only 2,200 pounds. It is a funny car. Again, a funny car. Let's see what he can do. He's got to beat 2.10 seconds.
He's running a 4-link suspension, driveline brakes, and he built the frame himself, and he bought the body of this car in pieces. He said it was cheaper that way.
Very light fiberglass body, full-on funny car. Same he used to run at Detroit Dragway and Raceway Park and Orange County International Raceway. Only here they're running in the mud. Steve DeLeeuw, let's see what he can do. There's a view from the back. He launches. Gets through, no real problem until he hits the end of that run. You can see it's four-wheel drive. And he's got to make his way out. Let's take a look back at DeLeeuw's run in slow motion and see what it looks like. Well, first we'll see if he can get out of the mud first. I think he's stuck there. Look at this.
Peeping through a little hole there.
Yeah, he's covered with mud, literally covered with mud.
He's lacking fender wells to catch that.
Let me tell you, folks, let me tell you. The cut tire class, Steve DeLeeuw, in a Z28 Camaro funny car. Now they're going to try to figure out how the devil to get this thing out of here. Let's go back and take a look at it in slow motion. We're ready now.
When the car was clean.
Yep. Say it takes $25 to $30 in quarters at a quarter car wash to clean these machines after they run through the mud. 247 seconds for chemical reaction. Now, there you go. He slams into the mud pit at the end, and that's it for chemical reaction. No reaction at all there.
He was camouflaged.
Here's the next machine getting ready, and this guy, he says, I'm ready to go. Let's go for it. That's a preview of what we're going to be seeing. That's Mike Fair coming up next. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more exciting mud bog action on Drag Racing Championships, and coming up, one of the hottest drivers, if not the hottest driver in the world of mud bog racing. This is Mike Fair. Margo, you know this guy.
Currently the points leader. Tonight he's driving the Enforcer, not the Great White Hope, his normal car, because it was stolen from him out front of the Howard Johnsons in Lake City, Florida a few months ago.
That's right.
And so this car he actually built for one of his fellow competitors, who is allowing Mike to drive it to finish out the series.
The Northern Michigan Four-Wheel Drive Center, the folks that sponsor this machine. The Enforcer, Mike Fair.
Not only does he have the advantage by 1,400 horsepower, the most powerful motor in this particular class, but he also has the advantage of all his frame technology.
He's got to be 2.10 seconds. Mike Fair. It's an 88 fiberglass Jeep. Chevy Power Glide transmission. He makes it through no problem whatsoever. 1,400 horsepower, but can he beat the 210? It's close. We'll have to check the clocks. You will not find a more professional driver than Mike Fair. He is what this sport of mud bog drag racing is all about. He's a gentleman. He's very intelligent and very serious about his mud bog drag racing. Let's take a look back. 2:30, not quite fast enough for the Enforcer. That's 0.2 of a second slower than the fastest time of the night.
It's very hard for these drivers to really let it all hang out in these small civic centers because they are very safety conscious.
That's right, and it's a small arena. It's a hockey arena here in Saginaw, Michigan. Mike Fair, who's built a number of the machines you see here tonight on our broadcast. Coming up now, this is Strictly Wicked. Dave Joseph of Jackson, Michigan. It's an 87 Chevy IROC Camaro with a small block Chevy engine, a 360 Chevy running RPM gauge nitrous. Margo, what exactly does that mean?
That means that it is set into motion. The nitrous is injected into the combustion chamber by the throttle reaction of his foot. So there's really no guessing game. As he pumps down on the accelerator, the nitrous kicks in.
Okay, it's a very heavy machine, 3,300 pounds, and it's running a small block Chevy. You kind of wonder why he didn't go with a big blocker, but here we go as Strictly Wicked gets set to go.
And he swears that Strictly Wicked will live up to his name. Let's watch.
Well, he is staging back and forth and taking an awful lot of time here tonight, and that's could be a problem. Now, remember, they have no cooling system whatsoever on these machines. They can only run so long before the engine fries itself. You've got to wonder what he's trying to do, Margo. He's taking an awful lot of time getting set.
Well, he's trying to find probably a dry launching space on the starting pad, but it's going to be difficult because cars have been slinging mud all over it all night long. But luck of the jaw has made him the last car to run.
And that's tough because it is extremely deep, the ruts there. I think I just saw a German soldier stick his helmet up. I'm not sure, but Strictly Wicked getting set to run. Very heavy car, 3,300 pounds, RPM gauge nitrous oxide. As he steps on the throttle, when it reaches a certain point, the engine RPMs reach a certain point, it kicks in the nitrous oxide, and hopefully that'll propel him through the mud. He's set. That engine's got to be getting awfully hot. He's taking an awful long time here. David Joseph of Jackson, Michigan. The green flag up. He can run any time. Here we go. Again, he's taking an awfully long time. You got to wonder what's happening. The track crew comes out to ask if he's got a problem. He says no. He shakes his head, and he's going to launch. David Joseph of Jackson, Michigan. Strictly Wicked 87 Chevy IROC. There's an overhead view, and he keeps backing up, setting himself right. And I don't know what's going on, but he's got to fry that engine if he doesn't pop that clutch. There he goes. Well, a rather anticlimactic run. He goes for a little distance. He's still moving forward, Margo, and as long as he keeps maintaining forward motion, they'll allow him to run.
He's trying to color in his car completely with mud.
Well, not quite through the long mud pit here at Saginaw, Michigan for Mr. Joseph. I'd like to know, if we can find out after the show, why he took so long in staging. I've never seen a car take that long. Usually these drivers try to baby those engines. They want to get in line, get set, and launch as soon as they can. Taking a look at it.
My only thought was perhaps he sensed that there was a mechanical failure somewhere in the car, and he was trying to sort it out, trying to correct it.
It's possible. If he takes much longer, we'll need a sundial to track his time. And we've mentioned earlier, each vehicle must have a full floor plan under the driver's compartment and a firewall between the driver and the motor, just for safety purposes. They must have a roll cage or a top or a wing. You see the wings on these mud boggers, and certainly they're not for high speed. They're in case a car flips over and the driver is stuck in the mud. In the early years, a few times they had problems with drivers getting stuck in the mud with their heads. 76 feet 8 inches for Slightly Wicked, and the longest run of the night. This guy was paid for time. He'd make $1 million tonight.
No major sponsors on his hood either,
Well,
Larry.
he wants to be out there in front of the crowd as long as he can so they can see it and maybe judge, and they might want to sponsor him. Well, the cut class results. The Mud Patrol, 210. Mudbuster second, 227. The Enforcer comes through with a 230. Chemical Reaction, 247 in fourth. Rambunctious in fifth with 316. Night Flight, 385. Strictly Wicked doesn't make it through, 76 feet 8 inches. And Black Bart with an 18-foot, 11.5 inches, half-hour run for Black Bart. So there you go. And we'll be back with more exciting mud bog action and the monster trucks coming up next from the Saginaw Civic Center. With Hot Rod Association, Mud Bog, Drag Racing Madness, and Battle of the Monster Trucks. Coming up now, Larry Huffman and Margo King, and here's Hercules. First vehicle out of the pits onto the track.
It's Larry Turner out of Clairton, Pennsylvania. And look at the snow that's on his bumper and in his windshield wipers.
We've received word there's a blizzard outside the auditorium. There's a lot of snow outside. This could wreak havoc with the monster trucks tonight because all of them are outside because of the size of the auditorium. They simply do not have enough room to put the monster trucks inside.
And the implication is that their axles, their drive shafts are all frozen and can be brittle at that temperature, Larry.
If you're wondering what those things are on the cars, those are records that are supplied by a local radio station.
Bad records.
Bad records that are being flattened along with the monster trucks. Okay, Hercules makes a time of 43.21, 43.21 seconds. They are timed from the first set of cars until the truck hits the second set of cars. So Hercules comes out first, 43.21. You know, you brought up a very good point, Margo. The trucks are actually hand-built, and a lot of things can go wrong with them. Here's Kodiak, the second machine. Look at the snow on this thing.
Mark didn't have time to brush the snow off his truck, and there's 2 inches of snow on that hood.
They are staged outside the monster trucks. He's got to beat 43.21 seconds. Look at him, straight up and down as the snow flies off. He stalls momentarily on the top, then comes off.
He's not holding back, even though the damage that is possible from hitting the cars that hard.
Right.
He's been doing this for 4 years, and at 24 years old, Mark started pretty early at this career.
He's got to beat a 43.21 of Hercules. This is Kodiak, Mark Bendler, 87 GMC, 496 Chevy engine. Wasting a lot of time here, Mark. He's going to get a run at it. The rubber on the tire is very brittle because it's been outside for several hours in the snow. And he stops on the top. And that is the second, so it is an official run. We'll get the clocking, the time for Kodiak.
As soon as they hit the second set of cars, that stops the clock.
That's
so
right.
They could pose on there.
Yep, and they do. Kodiak, looks like he's from Kodiak, Alaska, doesn't it? Kodiak with all that snow on top of him. He's got to beat a 43.21. He gets a 40.86. Mark Bendler, not too bad. So this is Aces High coming up now, and this is Jake HANKE. He's 39 years old, out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's a 72 Chevy El Camino with a 350 Chevy. The small block Chevy engine's been running for years and years in Chevy cars. Supercharged, 11,900 pounds. He's been racing for 2 years. You ever wonder what it's like to drive one of these things, Margo?
You bet.
I had a chance earlier, and this is what these kids are reacting to, this machine. I had a chance earlier to drive this car outside before the snow started. Let's go down and take a look at that driving lesson.
Take a $900 junker and turn it into a $166,000 monster truck wheel stander. You got to talk to Jake HANKE of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the owner-builder of Aces High. Now, this was a car that you were going to originally run on the street, or a vehicle on the street?
Yes, we bought a $900 truck, and we decided we were going to run it on the street. We got it fixed up. We got the four-wheel drive under it. And then we started doing a little more. We ended up putting it on the show car circuit for 3 years. And as a show car, it did real well. So then we decided after that, you know, the sitting around in the show car circuit and all this kind of stuff got kind of old. So I wanted to do something else with it. So I talked to a man named John Swartz from Pittsburgh, PA, and he said if I built something no one else had, that he would back me. So John and I sat down, and every time we looked at a magazine, we looked at a monster, and it was standing on the rear tires, bouncing off the car. So we decided we were going to build a wheel stander, the first wheel-standing monster truck. So when we designed it, we made it so it could do both, do wheel stands and car crushes.
You have put a lot of money in this, and it looks like, you look at it really close, it's like hand-built. I mean, you've put an enormous amount of time in making this just perfect.
Well, what we did, we tried to continue the show car circuit theory all the way through the truck. We just didn't want a monster truck that went out and just crushed cars. We wanted something that when the people seen it, they really appreciated looking at it. So this is why we went into all the extreme detail on the truck.
A lot of chrome.
A lot of chrome, and when you look at the truck, you can't find a weld or anything. I had over 500 hours of grinding in the chassis alone.
This is rare for a truck like this to have so much handwork done, right?
Yes, when I go places, people laugh at me and they say, why are you taking such a beautiful truck and beating it so bad? But, you know, we built it to use it. You know, it's just like anything else.
Is it hard to drive?
The only thing that's really hard driving in the truck is when you're doing wheel stands. A lot of times they put me in arenas, they shut all the lights off, you're standing on the rear tires, and I have the man that works for me, him and I have radio contact, and that's basically what I'm running on.
But a big feature of your truck, of your vehicle, is the flames coming out of the headers.
Yes, we pipe propane through the headers, and we put out about 3 feet of fire, and at night it really looks good.
I wonder if you could teach an announcer how to drive something like this.
I'm sure I could.
Really? This would be unbelievable. I've never driven a monster truck before. You want to give me a shot?
I think it's time you drive the Aces High.
I think it's time. Let's go check it out. This looks simple. This looks like any normal passenger car, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Jake, how do we start this puppy?
Well, we just don't turn the key. We got to go through 3 procedures. First, you turn the key a little bit, like this.
Turn on the key.
Right.
Turn on the ignition.
Then we have to turn the fuel system on.
Okay.
Right down here.
Got that.
Then we have to actually prime the carburetors. We have to build up fuel pressure.
Prime them carburetors.
Turn the key. That's the problem. We got to be ready to go car crush.
This is EPA noise level approved, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Holy Toledo! All right, let's go car crushing.
Larry, I'm convinced now that you were born with 5-ton military planetaries in your mouth.
Well, there it is. That's the machine I had a chance to learn to drive earlier, but he's got a problem, Margo. Aces high.
Ooh. I can't imagine Jake backing off that car like that unless he really felt there was a problem.
Well, you could see that the rear wheel suddenly stopped turning, and it's a four-wheel drive, and it is an incomplete run for Aces High. Possibly the extreme cold outside, the snow, has taken its toll on some of the internals in this virtually hand-built machine. And we've just received word from Jim Harris down on the floor. The rear axle has been broken of Aces High. So that's it for that one. And coming up next, the Mike Tyson of monster trucks. Ladies and gentlemen, the Virginia Beach Beast coming up next. Don't go away. Civic Center and the U.S. Hot Rod Association, Battle of the Monster Trucks, and this is the Virginia Beach Beast. Margo, you've driven this machine before.
It's an incredible machine. Don't look for a steering wheel. There are levers that control the tracks. You stop one track, it turns around itself.
William Towns, the owner-builder. Mike Katz, the driver. It's a 77 Chevy Blazer, built on the chassis of an 18-ton World War II M4 tank.
Now, Mike Katz used to have a real job, but he finds driving a monster truck tank a lot more interesting.
That's right. He used to be a valet parker. Here we go. Mike Katz, the driver, the Virginia Beach Beast. Look at this thing. And you can be sure, Margo, the cold, the snow will not stop this. It didn't stop Patton in World War II.
That's a fact, Larry. At 21,000 pounds, this tank shows no mercy.
Look at that. The crowd is sitting stunned. They can't believe their eyes. A 77 Chevy Blazer grafted onto a World War II tank running a 454 Chevy engine.
We would have won the war a lot earlier if we'd had something like that to show the Germans.
He backs up and goes over the cars. Look at this. Mike Katz. He is stuck on one of the cars, Margo, so he just goes right ahead, goes over it, goes up to the others, flips the one over, and goes over them. I don't believe this.
Not short of a showstopper, that's for sure.
Oh, the people love it. Again, there's no steering wheel. Now, this thing can do 60 miles an hour on the highway. 60 miles an hour.
A fully blown, supercharged with 2 Predator carburetors. This is a fire breather.
Yep, it gets about 5 gallons per mile. Now, use that only as an estimate. Your mileage may vary. The Virginia Beach Beast. Look at this thing. 34.75, and Katz takes the accolades of the crowd.
And you can just barely see the new edition accessory on that tank truck, a roll bar.
A roll bar. He needs it. I'm telling you. This is the full tilt body of Hercules coming out now. A beautiful thing to see.
The only tank, it's got me hung up on the tank truck, the only monster truck that he can drive with the body tilted up. It's been completely rewired to do that.
And here's the Virginia Beach Beast kind of putting up. Again, we had a problem with the other monster trucks because of the cold. Jim Harris decided to hold off and send out the tank and put on a show. The others are breaking down. This, I believe, is Kodiak coming out now. Yes, this is Kodiak, the monster truck coming out as the other trucks come out on the track to let the crowd see him. And there's Aces High running on one axle. The rear axle is broken. So the monster tank comes out, it came, it saw, and it conquered, and it blew away the people of Saginaw, Michigan. The finals in the monster truck class, Virginia Beach Beast, 30.75 seconds, Kodiak second, 40.86, Hercules third, 43.21, and Aces High put on a great show, taught me how to drive, but did not finish. So the Beast comes again and conquers. I don't think I can stop this thing, Margo, I really don't. We'll be back. Don't go away to the Saginaw Civic Center in just a moment. Some confusion down here on the floor with Jake Hanke of Aces High. What exactly happened? It all of a sudden came to a halt.
Well, what happened is we were out in the snow. Everything was so cold. You know, it's like 18 degrees outside tonight. The cars were all wet. The floor was wet. And when I hit the cars, I got a lot of air underneath the back end, and I kept my foot in it to try to carry a nice wheel stand across the cars, and I broke an axle.
Did you know immediately?
I knew when I couldn't go anymore.
Jake, I had a chance to drive the car earlier. Is there any chance I messed things up and caused a problem?
No, sir. Remember earlier when I was talking to you, I was afraid about the cold? Whenever you let the vehicle sit out in the cold like that, everything's so brittle. And when you try to give a good show, you can break stuff.
The launch was great. You got a lot of air straight up and down.
Yeah, that's what I planned on doing. I planned on getting it straight up and down when I come down, riding on the rear tires for a little ways. I did that back in Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago, and I won the crowd applause with no problem. I tried the same thing tonight. Mother Nature got me.
You sure it wasn't me? Sure I didn't mess it up?
No, it isn't anything you messed up. You didn't hurt the truck at all. You did a fine job driving.
Well, that's the story at Aces High. Broken axle because of the cold and the slipperiness of the cars he went over, and that ended his run real early. So a lot of excitement here in the Saginaw Civic Center tonight. To recap, in the uncut class, it was that beautiful 86 Chevy short bed, 900 horsepower pickup, short and sweet. Dan Myers taking the win with a 3.16-second clocking.
And that's exactly the kind of run he had, short and sweet. A good name for a truck.
He certainly came through that awfully fast. It was the first run of the night, and he set a very, very fast time. In fact, it was very competitive in the cut class, Margo, we might point out.
That's right.
Our producer tonight has been Steve Cannon, our sound engineer, Rick Stewart. That's short and sweet. Dan Myers, 3.16-second clocking, first in the uncut tire class. Stock street tires, short and sweet. Taking a look now at the cut class. These are the funny cars of Mud Bog Drag Racing. It was the Mud Patrol. Very famous car. It's getting a name all over the country. He has won in a number of stadiums around the country. Greg Stone doing the driving tonight instead of Tom Martin, and he turned a blistering 2.110-second clocking.
A really fine example of driving, too.
Boy,
flawless run.
No question. He did an excellent job. Greg Stone, 2.10 seconds, the Mud Patrol in the cut class, the funny cars. And then, of course, you have to look at the monster tank and the monster trucks, and a lot of people feel this is the wave of the future, the monster tanks. And the crowd, look at the crowd. They're just sitting there stunned. Their mouths are open as he slams into those cars.
They're wondering if they can get the snow off their cars that easy.
Yeah, the Virginia Beach Beast, Michael KATZ.
The All-American Pulling Series.
Turning the power on. Rolling on down. Turning the power on.
Power Tracks is brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevy truck.
See the lightning, it's on the road.
Hello, everybody. I'm Richard Leake, along with Army Armstrong, and once again, we're in Bowling Green, Ohio, for the most prestigious pulling event in America, the National Tractor Pulling Championships, and today, competition between vehicles that you and I can relate to, the modified four-wheel drives.
You know, with half the vehicles being sold in America today, Richard, being in the pickup truck category, the 4x4, the four-wheel drive people buying half of them, this is a definite crowd favorite event. The Chevrolet people can pull for the Chevrolets, of course, the Ford people for the Fords, and the Dodge boys are even competing this afternoon, so a lot of fans are going to be getting involved. They're behind their favorite brand.
Well, over 70,000 fans are on hand, and we're going to be back to get the competition underway for the Red Man TNT All-American Pulling Series from Bowling Green, Ohio. In Ohio, the National Tractor Pulling Championship for today is just that, a championship day as the Red Man TNT National title will be claimed by either the leader, Jerry Weaver, or Howard Lewis. Howard only 2 points behind Jerry as we start the competition. A capacity crowd on hand, as they normally are this time of year in Bowling Green. The trucks we're going to see today, modified four-wheel drives, much like you and I might have in our driveway, but they pack a lot more power. Here's Army.
One of the most popular classes in truck and tractor pulling has got to be the four-wheel drives. Chevrolet people can pull for Chevrolet, Dodge people pulling for the Dodgers, and the Ford people, of course, they're here in number 2 pulling for these Ford-powered vehicles. Competition this afternoon will weigh 6,200 pounds. Big question today, Bowling Green, Ohio, with the track surface the way it is, where are you going to put your weight? Civic engine, not a factor. Doesn't matter in sport. The only thing that matters, you must weigh 6,200 pounds. That was the closest furthest on this awesome rear and front track today will be known as the National Champion.
Now, and we're ready to get this national championship. Michael Johnson. Here he is. As they turn driving this vehicle.
years ago. They took about a year off to rebuild. This is a brand new concept in the truck and chassis design. It looks to be working for him. Oklahoma Showdown looks like he's going to pick up where he left off.
Pulling distance 288 feet, 3.2 inches for the Chevrolet Showdown out of Oklahoma. Good pull by Mike Johnson, first in the competition. And next is a guy we got to keep our eyes on, Howard Lewis, only 2 points away from first place.